Hey guys, Jose's DIY here. So right now I'm having an issue where my car don't want to start. It cranks but it won't start. So far I took off the timing belt cover, and when I cranked it, I seen that it was turning, so I don't think it's the timing belt. And plus I just got it done like 20,000 miles ago, so it shouldn't be that. So anyways, what and then I checked the battery at O'Reilly's, and they said it was a good battery. So now the next step for me is going to be taking off the starter, and the starter's right there, right here. And I'm going to start by removing the air box from here all the way to here, guys. We've got some Phillips screw, and we got a 10mm bolt there. I'm going to use an extension to get to it. And then here, just take off these plastic clips with a plastic tool remover, plastic clip remover, I mean. But before you get started on any of that, make sure you disconnect your negative side of the battery terminal. That way you don't cause any shorts. And I already disconnected the mass sensor. All right, but I'll get back to you once I remove this to figure out the next step. Anyways, that's how we're looking now, guys. There's the part I just removed. And from here, if you see deep in there, I can see the bolts that are holding the starter. Two bolts. According to the service manual for our cars, it doesn't even show that we have to remove this or the manifold. So what I'm gonna do now is keep going according to their manual. They call for removing these bolts. It's got 4 bolts, this transmission fluid cooler. Let me do that. And when I do that, I'll let y'all know what size bolt it is. There's 4 of them. One here, one there, and one there. All right, guys, I got the 4 bolts off, as you can see. And the setup that I used, I just used my 3/8 breaker bar with a little extension. And it was a 12mm socket. Those are 12mm bolts, and I just broke them loose like that. Once they were completely loose and I knew I could get them, I was scared to get them with my finger because it's kind of deep and the space is crammed. So I just used my little magnet. It's a little magnet that I bought at Lowe's, and it easily got them. So now let's see if we can maneuver this a little bit so we can make some space. Yeah, it looks like you can do a little bit of space. It ain't gonna be a considerable amount of space, I think just enough to get your hand on these bolts or whatever. All right, guys, this is where I'm at. After removing that I told you, removing the transmission cooler, I moved to try to get to the 4 bolts holding the heat shield to the starter. There was one there, one down there, one on this side, and one there. You can see the empty holes there that I already took them off. And there they are right there. 1, 2, 3, 4. They were 10mm bolts. These right here, I had to use my extension, just a regular ratchet. Broke them loose, and an extension with a long socket and short socket. These I was able to get them just like this, just with this setup, with no extension on this side. But anyways, I'm gonna try to, I think I have enough space here. Again, this is a 2006 GS. I think I have enough space to pull that cover out of there. But I'll get back to you when I figure that out. All right, guys, this is where I'm at. I was able to take off this heat shield that goes on top of the starter. I just had to push this transmission cooler more that way, rubbing up against this, and I was able to get it out. But as you can see, the connections that I'm supposed to take off and the nut is deep in there, and I'm afraid this is not gonna allow me to move forward unless I take it off. So I'm gonna run to the store and get me a tool to take off the oxygen sensors, an oxygen sensor socket, but I'll be right back. All right, guys, I'm back from the store, and I got this, so this is 7/8, and this right here is 3/8 for my ratchet and my breaker bar. But let me get to work. I'm gonna take off this oxygen sensor here and this one here, and there's no need to to get confused because it's a gray wire. The black wire is going to go down there, and we don't have to worry about that because all we're doing is taking off the shield from basically here to here. All right, guys, I got the oxygen sensors out. There's one of them. There's the other one. And I went ahead and connected them back up just so I know where they go. And now I'm going to take off 1, 2, 3, and 4. And they're going to be 12 millimeters, all right? I'll get back to you when I do that. And the oxygen sensor, I did have to put it on my breaker bar with that oxygen sensor socket. That's how I broke them loose. All right, guys, and I removed those 4 bolts that I told you about. And this is what I used, my breaker bar and just a long 12 millimeter socket. And there they go right there. So now let's remove this heat shield. Just make sure you take these cables out of their little grooves here. All right, put them to the side. And now goes the heat shield. Just like that. All right, guys, so the next step would be obviously to take off. There you see the nut. There's a nut there that holds the parts of the starter electrical connections. I imagine I can go right through this header here. But unfortunately, I'm gonna go ahead and take a break, and I'll resume tomorrow bright and early. So I'll see y'all then. All right, guys, and as you can see, I've got my socket right there where the bolts holding the electrical connection. See that? And that's how I'm gonna take it off. And there we go, guys. I got it loosened up. Let me go ahead and take that off, and then I'll show you guys the next step. And this is how I'm finishing the unscrewing of the bolt. I came in from this angle right here. All right, guys, I don't know if you guys can see. There's the inside of it. See, it's got that rubber boot there. You gotta take that rubber boot off, put it to the side just to get to the bolt that I just took off. And now we're gonna take off that electrical connection in the back. Let me see. Yeah, you'll see it. I'm kind of pulling on it. All right, guys, see that electrical connection? I took it off completely off the bolt, off the starter bolt. And that's how I was able to get to the other connection that y'all just showed me take off, which is this one. Well, y'all didn't see me, but this one was plugged in right here in the back. And I disconnected it. So we got everything disconnected on this side. Now all we gotta do is take off the two 14 millimeter bolts. I think they're 14 millimeters, one here. And let's see, one right there. One top, one bottom. Let me get to those bolts, and then I'll let you know how I did it. And this is how I'm loosening the bottom bolt with my breaker bar and a short 14 millimeter socket. And what I did there was I moved the transmission cooler that way, and I put the bolt right there so that this thing wouldn't move, to give me the space I need here to put my breaker bar in there. All right, guys, and for the top one, I went in the same way. See that? I don't know if you guys can see. There's the bolt right there. And it required me to do a downward force to loosen it up. But I used a short socket for both of them. I think for the bottom one, I used the breaker bar though. That's the only difference. All right, guys, there's the starter. So as you can see, there was no need to take off the manifold. All I had to do was take that screw off of the transmission cooler so I could push the transmission cooler this way. And then I was able to maneuver the starter out of this space here. All right. But I'm gonna take it to the store and test it out. I'll be right back. All right, guys, I got the starter back in, my old starter. Unfortunately, they tested it 2 times and it passed with flying colors. So my problem is not the starter or the battery. So I have to keep digging. But it's gonna be 23 foot-pounds to tighten up those two 14 millimeter bolts. 23 foot-pounds. All right, guys, and this is how I tightened up the bolts all the way with my breaker bar. I couldn't torque them specifically because my torque wrench was too thick in there. But now don't forget to connect your 2 wires. Well, the other wire and the one that has a nut. Don't forget to do that. And the connection that has that nut right there, I just tightened it with my hand, and then I got the ratchet and got up in there, tightened it some more. you can't torque it because you ain't got no space. All right, guys, and for the 4 little bolts holding the starter heat shield, it's 7 foot-pounds. I've got my torque wrench here, as you can see. All right, guys, now I'm in the part of torquing down these bolts. I already put all 4 12 millimeters in there for the transmission cooler, and it's gonna be 17 foot-pounds. All right, guys, I ended up just tying it with a regular ratchet with one hand as much as I could because my torque wrench just wouldn't fit in here. All right, guys, and the next thing, of course, was to put back this catalytic converter heat shield, and these are going to be torqued to 10 foot-pounds. And I was able to torque all of these with my long socket, 1, 2, 3, except for this one down here. I had to use a short socket, 12 millimeter, to torque it down. All right, guys, the next thing, of course, is to put your oxygen sensors back in and torque them down, which is what I'm about to do. Got my torque wrench here, and it's gonna be 33 foot-pounds. All right, guys, after that, just make sure your sensors are plugged back on and make sure they're, you know, kind of in their grooves to where they belong. Make sure you check both sides that you disconnected. And after that, guys, the only thing left to do is install your little air box, which is gonna go right here. It's gonna have a few clips and 1 or 2 10 millimeter bolts that go in here. Tighten up your hoses down. Make sure you connect your mass airflow sensor back in and connect your battery, and you should be good to go with a successful starter replacement. Like, comment, subscribe.